Good morning and welcome to part 3 of our series. And in this our series we've been looking at the path to health. Yesterday we dealt with ulcers. Today I want us to look at hypertension. And hypertension is as well known as high blood pressure. These are lifestyle diseases that many people tend to believe that they can only be managed but not cured. But we also need to realize that God has great promises for us when it comes to diseases. We realize that it is sin that brings diseases to the human family. And after realizing that it is because of sin that we fall sick, God will still want to restore us to health and also to restore us to that divine image that was lost in the Garden of Eden. When dealing with hypertension, God has promised that this lifestyle disease can be cured and not just being managed. And many people have believed this, that once they have contracted hypertension, they will live with this disease till their death. But notice what God says in the book of Genesis chapter 18 verses number 14. The Bible says, "Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son." So when you mark the first question, the first sentence ending with a question mark, we ask ourselves if there is something that is too hard for our Lord to do. Can our God cure us of hypertension? The answer is yes. And all things that are impossible with man will always be possible with our God. Notice another promise in Jeremiah chapter 30 verse number 17. It says, "For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after." So the promise here is that God will restore health to us. He will heal us of our wounds. And even in hypertension, He will also heal us. The last promise that I wanted us to claim, even as we delve now into hypertension, is from the book of Psalms chapter 103 verse 2 and 3. "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases." God heals all our diseases. So it will be upon us now to trust upon our God, to confess, to repent all our sins, and to get hold of the 8 doctors of health, and to learn the basic principles of health. And by abiding by them, if we cooperate, God is going to restore health unto us. Notice what researchers have to say on hypertension, and these are the key facts that were discovered and noted in the year 2019, that was 13th September, that hypertension or elevated blood pressure is a serious medical condition that significantly increases the risk of heart, brain, kidney, and other diseases. That once one has contracted hypertension, then it is possible that they can develop heart failure, heart attack, disease of the brain. They can also have complication in the kidney and any other related diseases like stroke. An estimated 1.13 billion people worldwide have hypertension. Most, that is two-thirds, living in low and middle income countries. And this is a disease that is called a silent killer. Majority are having hypertension, but they know it not. In 2015, 1 in 4 men and 1 in 5 women had hypertension. Fewer than 1 in 5 people with hypertension have the problem under control. Hypertension is a major cause of premature death worldwide because it is a silent killer. We have a long way to go, and let us therefore define what we mean by blood pressure before we now look at high blood pressure. So what do we mean by blood pressure? This is the pressure of the blood inside the heart and the blood vessels. High number when the heart is pumping and low figure when the heart is resting. The systolic and the diastolic pressure is given here. We have 120/80. Less than this will give us an ideal pressure that when one is having, then that person will be termed as normal. What of high blood pressure? When we talk of high blood pressure or hypertension, this is a heightened pressure of the blood inside the heart and the blood vessels over a long period of time. When the pressure of the blood rises above the normal or the optimum or the ideal pressure, then we term that as high blood pressure. And a diagnosis need to be done on this so that we can know if we have a high blood pressure, a low blood pressure, or an ideal or normal blood pressure. Since it is a silent killer, and it will be hard for us to know if we have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, or when it's just normal, a diagnosis must be done. Once you suspect that you might be having a high blood pressure, what you can do is that you go for a diagnosis. When you go for a diagnosis, we have a blood pressure machine, a simple machine that will only be placed in your biceps and the triceps. I believe you know where it is, so that the pressure reading can be obtained. And these are some of the expectations that we'll have once your pressure has been measured. I'm going to read the diastolic and the systolic pressure. So when someone is normal, the pressure will be reading 120/80. When it is highly normal, then 130/90. Stage 1 of high blood pressure, the mild high blood pressure, is at 140/100. We also have stage 2, we have moderate high blood pressure, 160/110. When it is now severe, 180/120. Very severe high blood pressure that can lead to other diseases is at 210/120. And when our pressure is high, it is most likely that we can be exposed to other pressure-related diseases. And one of the pressure-related diseases, we have that 8 times you may be more likely to contract a stroke. 3 times you may more likely to have heart attack, and then 5 times more you may likely develop a heart failure. So you need to be cautious with your pressure, and when you realize that you have these symptoms, you can go for a pressure checkup so that you can know your pressure. Let me give us some of the symptoms that are good indications that we may be having high blood pressure. When you have a pounding feeling in the chest, ears, or neck. When you are experiencing strong headaches, you have problem in breathing, you feel so confused, you feel so tired most of the time, problems with the eyesight, evidence of blood in the urine. You can also have a heartbeat that is irregular. Your heart beats faster than the normal. At times you experience chest pain, then tingling feeling in hands or feet. And this feeling here, many people term it as a blessing of acquiring money when they're in the process of acquiring high blood pressure. Often as no signs or symptoms, most of the time you realize that it will not show us any symptom. This is a silent killer. It destroys vital organs and can also lead to stroke and heart attack. I want us now to look at some of the causes of hypertension. What are some of the causes of hypertension? Because most people in the world are having high blood pressure, the young as well as the old. So what are some of the risk factors or the causes of hypertension? The first one we are going to touch on fat or more cholesterol in the system. And our arteries should be normal. So on the left side you can see a normal artery, and the right hand side you can see a plagued arteries. Someone is having atherosclerosis because of high fat or cholesterol level in the arteries. Allow me share with us what cholesterol will do to our arteries that will lead to high blood pressure. High cholesterol in the blood vessels or in the arteries will tend to clog or block the arteries. And we are told that cholesterol is a type of fatty substance that your body uses to make certain hormones. They produce vitamin D and build healthy cells. We manufacture some of it in our bodies and get some of it from foods we eat. And majorly, that which will result to high blood pressure is that which we obtain from our diet, which is so dangerous. Atherosclerosis is a general term for several diseases in which the wall of the artery becomes thicker and less elastic. And when it becomes more thick and less elastic, then the blood will pump or flow abnormally. When they are blocked, then for pressure to pass through the blood vessels, it will require high pressure, and that is what will lead to a high blood pressure. Another risk factor is dehydration. When one is dehydrated, he may likely contract high blood pressure. How is this one possible? High blood pressure is common in people who are chronically dehydrated. They lack water in their system. When the body cells lack water, the brain sends a signal to the pituitary gland to secrete vasopressin, a chemical that causes constriction of the blood vessels. So when the blood vessels constrict, when they need to vasodilate, then the result is that blood pressure will increase. Yeah, this causes blood pressure to increase, which leads to hypertension. So one of the things that we need to be more cautious of is how we drink water, so that we may ensure that we are not dehydrated. Another risk factor other than fat or cholesterol and even dehydration, we have excessive salt intake. And the majority use the normal salt, the one that we call cane salt. Cane salt is only having 3 minerals, that is iodine, we have sodium, and also chloride. And the cell of a normal human being requires potassium. So the cell, that is the CBD of the human body, requires potassium ion as well as sodium ion. So when we continually use the normal salt with only potassium, we are told that eating salt raises the amount of sodium in your bloodstream and wrecks the delicate balance, reducing the ability of your kidneys to remove the water. So what happens here is that we are going to have more of sodium in the cell than potassium, and this one will cause imbalance. With this imbalance, the cell will swell, and when it swells, it will now make the blood vessels to grow thinner and less elastic. And when the blood is flowing through the blood vessel, it flows with a higher speed and with a higher pressure, and this will result to high blood pressure. So we'll look at what is it to be done so that we check on this condition, so that we can eliminate a risk factor of excess normal salt. You have to change your salt. And one who is suffering from hypertension, you just need to change your lifestyle, and one of the things you need to change in your lifestyle is changing your salt. You can either use, we are going to discover that as we continue, you can use Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, or sea salt. Another risk factor is obesity. And obesity is witnessed even in children. So we need to know our body mass index. And how do we calculate our body mass index, the BMI? You need to know your weight and your height, and that will be all. So how do we calculate our BMI? And from the BMI, we can note if we are having overweight, if we are underweight, or our weight is normal. To calculate your BMI, you'll have your weight in kilograms over your height in meters. But we're going to have your height in meters squared. That will give us the body mass index. When we are talking on body mass index below 18.5, then you'll be considered underweight. When your body mass index ranges between 18.5 to 24.9, then you have a normal weight. When the body mass index is ranging between 25 to 29.9, then you are overweight. 30.0 and above, you are obese. And with obesity, you are increasing much risk of contracting high blood pressure. Another risk factor is smoking, either bang or cigarette or any other thing that people smoke. This will increase your risk of contracting high blood pressure. How will smoking result to high blood pressure? We are told that smoking causes an immediate spike in blood pressure and can raise systolic blood pressure levels by as much as 4 milliliters of mercury. Then the nicotine in tobacco products spur the nervous system to release chemicals that can constrict blood vessels and contribute to high blood pressure. So one who is smoking is also likely to contract high blood pressure, and smoking causes a long-term damage to blood vessels because they introduce tar and also tobacco in the system, and these are not healthy to the system. This habit further increases the chance of developing problems like stroke, heart disease, and heart attack. The combination of smoking and hypertension puts you at greater risk of having a heart attack, stroke, or other cardiovascular event compared to non-smokers with hypertension. So this is a risk factor that should be eliminated. And another risk factor is consumption of alcohol. The exact mechanism by which alcohol increases blood pressure is not fully understood. One possibility is that long-term use of alcohol may cause the blood vessels to vasoconstrict. And vasoconstriction is what we've been looking at here. It will now hike the pressure and will finally lead to hypertension. Another one is caffeine. We also have caffeinated drinks. Avoid caffeinated drinks like coffee, tea, chocolate, soda. 1 cup of coffee may raise the blood pressure by 5 to 6 points. So avoid caffeinated drinks, and caffeinated drinks can be found in the coffee, tea, or even chocolate. So change what you use as a beverage, and let your beverage be that which is natural. You can use rosemary as your beverage. You can use lemongrass as your beverage, cinnamon as your beverage, hibiscus as your beverage, and this will help you control your hypertension. Another risk factor is stress and lack of exercise. How will stress result to high blood pressure? And majorly, most people in the world are suffering from hypertension because of stress. Yeah, stress is also a risk factor to hypertension. What will pressure do? What will stress do? Stress can cause hypertension through repeated blood pressure elevations, as well as by stimulation of the nervous system to produce large amounts of vasoconstricting hormones that increase blood pressure. So God will want us to control our emotions and even the thought process. Estrogen hormone is also a risk factor here. And what alters the estrogen hormone? We have birth control medication and menopause medication. Those are the contraceptive pills. Birth control measures has also been one of the risk factors because they interfere with the estrogen. They imbalance the hormones in women majorly, and this one increases their chances of contracting hypertension. Researchers have found that long-term estrogen exposure generates excessive levels of a compound named superoxide, which causes stress in the body. The buildup of this compound occurs in an area of the brain that is crucial to regulating blood pressure, suggesting that chronic estrogen induces a buildup of superoxide that in turn causes blood pressure to increase. Another risk factor, sugar consumption. And when we are talking about sugar here, this is refined sugar. Consuming sugar increases insulin levels, which activates the sympathetic nervous system, leading to increase in heart rate and blood pressure. It is also apparently reduces the sensitivity of the receptors that regulate our body pressure. So we need to know the kind of sugar that we are to use. We are not to use refined sugar and even other refined foods, those that will give us more sugar, and their sugar will go directly to the bloodstream. Foods that we eat should be wholesome and should be also having fiber in them. We are to avoid white products like white sugar, white flour, white rice, etc. Turn immediately to sugar in your bloodstream. So their sugar get direct into the bloodstream, and that will affect your blood pressure. The range of sugar in the diet is that it ends up in the bloodstream. As the blood sugar rises, so does the blood pressure. So as your blood sugar will rise, your blood pressure will also rise. Yeah, so we've looked at high blood pressure and the risk factors. Others you'll also look at. We can also consider vegetable cooking oils. We have refined oils, especially canola oil, that will also increase it. So you can go for the natural compressed oils. We can go for sunflower, we can go for olive oil, and other extra virgin natural oils that are good for our health, those that we can consume directly. Allow me now to look at how we can help those with blood sugar. Is there any medication that can be subjected or administered? Those are the ones that we want now to look at. After looking at the risk factors, how then can we help? We are to change our lifestyle, and those who have been using animal products should therefore change. Those who are smoking should stop smoking. Those who have been using alcohol should therefore avoid it and set those things aside. So the first thing that we are to do is to change our lifestyle. And in changing our lifestyle, I take us back to the 8 laws of our health. And 8 laws of health will give us the best remedy for every ailment. Once someone has realized that he is suffering from any disease, the first thing that you need to do is to get back to the 8 laws of health. Ensure your diet is right, you do exercise, you drink enough water, you get vitamin D from the sun, you ensure that you are temperate in all things, you get fresh air, you rest adequately, and above all, you trust in the divine power. What else can we use after going for a checkup? How then can we prevent hypertension? These are some of the ways that we can help prevent hypertension. Drink enough water, and ensure that in a day you even drink 3 liters of water and even more, depending on your weight. Avoid animal products. Both cholesterol and saturated fats contribute to atherosclerosis. They can also give us heart attack, cancer, and even hypertension. So eat a low-fat diet. A plant-based diet prepared in a simple way, avoiding refinement and frying, that will be the best one. So use a plant-based diet. Another one is that you need to do plenty of exercise, and walking alone is excellent. Exercise will strengthen the heart muscles. It also helps control stress, clears fats from the body. So if you want to burn excess calories, do exercise. And exercise also lowers blood pressure by increasing circulation. 6 minutes of running on the spot reduces blood pressure. So ensure you do exercise each and every day. And also add some nutrients that will help control your pressure. And for us to add nutrients, we can also use the salts that are recommended, that is Himalayan rock salt. We can also use Epsom salt, and to increase magnesium content in our blood, we can also use dark leafy green vegetables. Ensure you also add potassium. Himalayan salt is rich in potassium. I believe bananas also are rich in potassium. They will help increase these nutrients that are required by the cell, or rather the blood vessels, to help us control our hypertension. Apples contain pectin, boron. These ones have a good influence on the heart, so ensure you even have an apple twice in a week. Other nutrients that can also be helpful: vitamin E. Vitamin E can be found in broccoli, in cauliflower, also in sunflower seeds. Our body also needs vitamin C, and vitamin C can be obtained in the red pepper, in potatoes, in tomatoes, grapefruit juice, cauliflower, and even in broccoli. We also need omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3 can be found in the spinach, flaxseed, almonds, bananas, avocados, chia seed. Those are rich in omega-3. We can also look for the L-arginine. This is an element in the endothelial cells of our vascular system that produces nitric oxide that allows the arterioles to relax. And where can we get this nutrient? It is found in beans. We can also find it in pumpkin seeds, soybeans, and watermelon seeds. So when we change our diet, it is more likely that we are going to control and even to prevent our hypertension, and we are going to regain health. Avoid anger and worry. Trust upon the Lord and be glad in your heart most of the time. Avoid such things that will grieve your heart and bring hunger and worry. We are told worry is blind and cannot discern the future, but our Savior Jesus Christ knows the end from the beginning. God has got 1,000 ways to provide for us, of which we know not one. Those who will make the honor of God to be supreme will always find a pathway, and God will always open for them ways. God will gladden our heart in this pilgrimage journey. We are continuing to look at how can we prevent hypertension. We have considered some lifestyle that are to be changed, what we are to do, and majorly this revolves around the 8 doctors of health and the forgotten laws of health, like dress in a manner that will not expose the limbs or the extremities, that other portions of the body will be chilled, ensure the blood flows uniformly in the body system. Another way that we can also use to do away or get rid of hypertension is through what we call water treatment. And water treatment, you can do hot foot bath, and there is one that is here on the screen. This is also part of hydrotherapy, where we have a towel. So we dip a towel in hot water, and then you wring out the excess water from the towel. Wrap your towel around your lower back or the kidney area. Fill a bucket with hot water again. Dip your legs in it, and place a towel with cold water on your forehead. This is the final point that you are now to have as you do this water treatment. In water treatments, we have hot foot bath, contrast bath, we can do hot fermentation. All this will help us to ensure that our blood is flowing uniformly. This treatment, we can do it twice or 3 times in a day. It will be of greater help to us. Some of the herbs that we can use are as follows. We can use garlic tea to help us control and do away with the hypertension. Garlic tea, 1 glass hot water, 2 chopped garlic cloves. We can use this 3 times a day, and ensure it is the purple garlic, not the white garlic. Garlic raw, that will also work well. And in that concoction, we can also have a medium-sized onion, bulb onion. We can also be eating tomatoes and carrots every day. Another herb that will be of great benefit to hypertension is hibiscus. We can also use rosella petals. So hibiscus tea as your beverage will also help you get rid of hypertension. We continue with the herbs that we can use, the natural herbs that we can obtain to help us get rid of hypertension. We can use corn silk or maize hair. We can dry and grind it, and once you have a grounded corn silk, take 3 tablespoons of dried corn silk, add it to 1 liter of water, boil for 5 minutes and drink during the day. Corn silk is good for hypertension. Another one is lemon. Drink 3 glasses of diluted lemon juice a day. You can also add sweet pepper, the one that we call a pilipili hoho. Holy basil is also of great help. You can make holy basil tea and then you drink. So we have so many ways of getting rid of hypertension. I want to introduce us now to some remedial agencies or herbal aids, good formulas that we can be using for our hypertension. The first herbal formula that will help us so much to get rid of hypertension, to do away with it, we have 4 parts of motherwort. And if you cannot obtain motherwort, you can obtain the hawthorn. So 4 parts of motherwort. If you combine it with 2 parts of cloves powder, 2 parts of cayenne powder, 3 parts garlic powder, you also have 1 part of ginger and 1 part of artemisia. These 6 herbs, we mix them together, and then we can be using them on a daily basis. We can add all of it in 1 liter of water, and then we use it for some days. And I recommend that we use it for at least 90 days. That will be 3 months, to get rid of hypertension completely. There is also another second herbal formula that we can use. Get 1 cup of African eggplant, blended one, 2 cups of tamarind water, then 2 bulbs purple garlic. So let this set and then drink it to tamarind in 2 cups. Then finally glass bottle. And then the dosage has already been given, that drink 3 tablespoons after every 2 hours from morning to evening. This will call for consistency, and you also be patient, and we trust upon God for Him to bring healing. Third herbal formula, we can obtain 4 parts of cat's claw, 4 parts of feverfew, 3 parts fresh ginger. We also have 3 parts of fresh garlic and 2 parts of cayenne pepper. This one will help us to prepare what is called the 7th power tea. How do we prepare the 7th power tea? Take cat's claw and feverfew, soak them in water overnight, ensure it is in 4 liters. Boil it in the morning for 30 minutes, then sieve it. Add another glass of cat's claw and feverfew, boil it again for 30 minutes under low heat. After that, put ginger, garlic and cayenne pepper while still hot, and wait for an hour, and take a quarter glass 3 times a day. You can use this for 10 days. So this is 7th power tea, and it will really help you to open the vasoconstricted blood vessels so that blood can flow uniformly, and then it will help now resuscitate your blood pressure, and you will feel relieved. The 4th herbal formula, which is going to be our last one, we can obtain 4 parts of Tylosema phasogloensis, 3 parts cloves powder, look for 3 parts albizia, 2 parts acacia bark, 2 parts stinging nettle, and 2 parts comfrey. This formula has been working so well. This formula can help you cleanse your kidney. It will help you cleanse your liver. It will also deal with the neurological disorders. It will cut your hypertension. It will also deal with someone's arthritis, diabetes. So this is a formula that once you mix all these herbs, from the mixer you can obtain 1 tablespoon in hot water. Hot water in a glass. Then you stir so well, you cover, you allow it to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes, you sieve and then you drink. The dosage can be 3 times in a day, in the morning, at midday, and even in the evening. And then you can use it consistently for 90 days and you'll realize a great change. As we do this treatment, it is also essential for us to do colon cleansing. So cleanse your colon. And how will you cleanse your colon? We can use 3 parts senna, 2 parts cloves powder, 2 parts ginger, 1 part psyllium husk, 1 part bentonite clay, and 1 part activated charcoal. Add 1 teaspoon in a cup of warm water. Stir and drink immediately. Take 3 times a day for 3 days and relax. This one will help cleanse your colon. All diseases originate from your colon. So when we have a dirty colon, then we'll also have a sick body. Liver, which is the project manager of the body, we can also cleanse it. And how will we cleanse our liver? Use lemon juice, 1 glass warmed a little bit for 3 minutes. 2 tablespoons of olive oil 2 hours before meal for 3 days. So these two can help us cleanse our liver. Allow me finish by touching on eye enema. So in case of hypertension, and for some people who have been using drugs for long, we can use now eye enema to first cleanse your colon. And you can use the following herbs in eye enema. We have senna, we have garlic, we have catnip, we have Epsom salt. We can use one at a time, not all of them. But it will also not be heal if we combine senna and some garlic, and we boil 1 liter of senna, and then you place it in a urine bag or to help the patient. You can do liver cleansing. After liver cleansing, you now give the remedial agencies, ensuring that the doctors of health has also been kept in check, and this will bring health to us. We are to be taught to trust upon our God for healing, for in Him there is health, and He wishes that we be in health at all times. Psalms 118, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Man will always tell us that with these lifestyle diseases we can only manage, but God says they are curable if we trust upon Him. Trust upon God and obey Him in all things, and all things that we need will be done and be fulfilled for us. May God bless us even as we welcome you once again to our part 4 of 6. Stay blessed.